What's up? It's Keith Kelfus with I Am Ability, and this is a Q&A video. This is pretty deep stuff. I posted a video right next to this, or before, about eliminating mental illness through neural and biological consciousness. What I meant in that video is there's neural pathways in your brain that you can rewire and actually consciously work your way right out of suffering, unnecessary suffering, or mental illness, or pathologies, or living nightmares, things like that. I don't want to speak about it negates it. That's why Zen philosophers say you can't speak about certain things, you can't ask certain questions. But here in this Q&A video, I have an awesome question, a public comment by Josh Painter Vlogs. What up, Josh? And you said something really awesome. Now, you posted the comment publicly, so I'll assume that we're all good here because you posted it publicly. Okay, here goes. Let me ask you this. I know that you're not a doctor. That's my disclaimer. This isn't medical advice. I just see that you do a lot of studying, Keith. What if you were totally awake, but you have vivid images playing in your head of a situation that may happen, but probably never will? What do you call that? And what would be your advice for that to go away? That's a great question. So if you have vivid mental images in your head, it's like a dream happening while you're awake, and it could terrify the shit out of you. And even though the probability of this never happening is high probability, it feels so real to you. And then you hear people talk spooky shit like, oh my God, don't think about that, or you could manifest it in your life. And then that makes it even worse because on a subconscious level, and I'm going to try to stay within the laws of physical reality that we can see and touch and taste and smell and feel, but unfortunately it's hard to. So without getting too crazy on you, because I don't want to lose you, there are parts of the subconscious mind and neural pathways that literally, if you think about something, you manifest it. Where your thoughts go, your energy flows. So when you understand that you can take accountability and responsibility for your thoughts, that's when you really get lashed back, and that's when your mind really goes crazy. Back in 2010, 2011, when I was having like a nervous breakdown and I was getting my business off the ground, I was going through absolute panic and hell and terrifying anxiety. I felt like I was living a waking nightmare, that I was burning and being tormented in hell, permanently stuck and trapped in lower astral energies and reliving over and over and over just traumatic events. Like for me, it was financial and losing everything, and ego death. Well, later on in your life, you can have like a PTSD. Now, I'm not talking about like troops and things like that, because they go through really, really powerful, strong stuff. That's not fair. I'll back up so you can see me because the light's blaring. But you can go through something even in your childhood that you weren't aware of, mental, physical, emotional trauma or abuse, or even the smallest thing that could literally fuck you up into your life. And then, birds. Maybe a bird attacked you when you were a little kid, and you see a bird and you just fucking freak out, and you're like a grown man, but what is this thing with birds, right? Or maybe you financially lost everything, or you had a cop put you in handcuffs and arrest you, and you were treated by the law system so unfairly that you're in hell right now, or it's so, and that's a whole nother situation. 80 to 90% of that stuff is actually totally unfair, and it's a corporate jurisdiction. I mean, it has no jurisdiction here as you being a natural free man, and the reason it feels wrong, or like you've been duped or done wrong by the system, is because you really fucking have. That's another thing that causes a split in the mind, or a cognitive dissonance. Now, I could guess for an hour, but it could be a fear, a common fear of developing a life-threatening or permanently debilitating disease and dying young. It could be a fear of completely failing and losing everything and ending up living by a dumpster and being homeless and failing everybody around you and burning in hell. It could be your worst possible nightmares coming true. And I think one of the worst fears possible, or living nightmares people have, is something outside of their control ripping them down and them losing everything, to and being completely helpless and screaming for help or begging and nobody's there to save you, and feeling completely unloved and being well, these are some of my deepest fears, right? And it's that something that's you can't control just ripping your life apart, and you have no choice but to live the rest of your life, or what's left of it, in a burning, suffering hell. But you can't commit suicide, because then you might go to hell. You know what I mean? This is really deep shit. But anyways, that type of pain is what drove me to seek very deep answers that have changed and are changing my life every day. So step one is the subconscious mind can't tell the difference between linear reality right now, or you could say quantum. There's no space and time doesn't exist. Everything is ubiquitous, and according to Einstein's theories, like, time doesn't exist either. So basically your subconscious mind doesn't operate. There's psychological time, but your subconscious mind, everything is happening now. So if something happened in your past or in your perceived future, it always feels like it's happening now, and you can literally live a waking nightmare. Now, what happens is the more you think about that and the more it happens to you, because you feel like you're a victim to it and you can't control it, this nightmare just comes up and it's triggered and it's happening to you. And now you can't be successful like you want to be. Maybe you can't have optimum health, or mental or emotional health, or psychological health. Maybe you can't become a successful business owner or be successful in your relationship, because these weird triggers happen that cause you, or maybe your loved one, or the people around you, or to you, or you. These weird triggers cause everybody to be in hell. Hell is on earth, right? So I believe in the power of words and the power of rebuking. See, you can go many directions with this. You can go in completely, it's 100% your responsibility, or it's not your responsibility. You legitimately have mental problems and you need medication. That means that you're turning over responsibility. You could turn it over to a higher power. You could blame it on energies or astrals. You could blame it on fucking aliens. You could blame it on demons. You could blame it on the system. But there's an amazing book that I read. This is so deep, I'm trying to unpack it in a quick video. There's an amazing book I read by Stephen R. Covey called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He said you have a circle of influence, and then there's a circle around that, which is stuff you can't control. So the circle of influence is what you can control, but the shit around it is what you can't control. If you focus on what you can't control, and it was very hard, it's easy to say, but if you focus on what you can't control, then what you can't control actually gets bigger and bigger, and you control less and less. What you can control decreases, and now you don't have any control over anything. But if you focus over what you can control, there's part 2 of this. If you focus on the things you can control and less on what you can't, then the things you can control start to expand, and your circle of influence expands, and now you learn and you figure out and you develop the power and personal power and influence to control more and more and more and more and more stuff in your life, to now where, oh my God, I have all this control. But the thing is, the mind doesn't have discernment, because discernment comes from different places, not only mentally, but it's spiritual as well, and you can't tell what you can or can't control. Something that you could control today, you can't control tomorrow. And something that you couldn't control yesterday or your whole life, all of a sudden you can control now. Or things that you can't control, you find out that you could control the whole time, but you didn't just know you couldn't control them. Because there is mental and emotional, there's social truth, there's physical truth, there's genetic truth, there's biological truth, there's spiritual truth, and there's universal truth, right? This is quantum now. Okay, so it's a very confusing, it's sonic, it's whole, it's all encompassing, you got to extrapolate. There's so much of it that the only way to actually dip into this, it's like a sine wave goes like this, is through states of consciousness, which would be called zero. I can absolutely help you. I know I'm all over the fucking place, and I'm very aware that I'm talking fast, and if you can't follow me, you already left the video. If you can follow me and you're still here, this is it. I found the secret to solving and curing I can't use that word. Sorry. I found the secret. Take a deep breath. Hold it for 2 seconds. Trust me. The yawn is the release. It's already happening. Take another deep breath. Yawn. Now watch this. Watch this. Stay with me and look into my eyes. Take a deep breath. And exhale. Let all emotion drain out of your head and through your shoulders and down out of your feet. Do you feel that? Being in the now, right now. It's almost spooky because you're this close to death. You feel like you're dead, and the ego fears death. So it generates pathologies. It generates static and mental problems that we all have because it's terrified of death. It always needs an enemy. It always needs a story to cling to. It always needs a false sense of fear or anxiety because it is the dark side of you. It's your flesh. It's fucking disgusting. I'm just playing, but only through... Do you know what atonement is? Atonement, to suffer in blood, to be, you could say, to be resurrected, to be reborn, to be renewed, to be purified, to be clarity. You can't speak of it. You negate it. You have to experience it, and that's like the power of zero. And when you practice this daily, it presses the reset button on your subconscious, on your brain, and it starts to take those neural pathways. There's exercises you can do to take those fears and those stories where you're freaking out, and you can take it like a CD or old record and scratch the shit out of it so it never plays the same ever again. And then you can take it and disassemble it. Because you could get to the point where literally you can have a villain with a gun to your head and you're going to die. He's going to blow your brains out or slit your throat. And you're just like, no fear. You ever seen that Will Smith movie where his son was they were on that alien planet, and at the very end, that weird alien was gonna fucking bite his head off or kill him, and he just went, because the aliens reacted off of fear. They could smell the fear, and it made them attack. But at the end, the human being, which is Will Smith's son, there's a hidden message in that movie, and that movie rocked my fucking world, dude. Well, I think my friend saw it too. He's like, I thought that was stupid. Not making fun of them, but to me, I understood the message is that when you can eliminate fear, here it comes. There you go. And be in tranquility and bliss, you can walk amongst death with a smile on your face because you realize you're already dead. You're not in a negative way, but in an eternal way, right? I'm already forgiven, dog. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to, like, dude, I'm not a religious dude. I swear to you. I'm not like, I don't like when people try to push their religion or give me a Bible. We gotta go read this. And they check on you and make sure you read it. I feel pressured immediately. I'm sorry. But I'll tell you one thing. The more I go down this path of meditating and praying and trying to become close to my creator or whatever that higher energy of really is unconditional love, that is what makes me say, oh my God, these spiritual leaders were right. And these are the people that get fucking persecuted. So, oh, here's another thing, but I don't know if I want to tell you this because it suggests that the power is outside of your control. You're like, now you gotta tell me. Oh, there's a book by Brian L. Weiss called Many Lives, Many Masters, and they do regressive hypnotherapy, past life regressive hypnotherapy, and they found out like you could have been someone real bad in your past life, and that's why you're suffering in this life, or you're reliving nightmares from the reincarnation that was real. And then there's another theory that you're living multiple lives at once in different dimensions and different densities. So, because I know some people that just suffer incessantly until they die. I have a very specific karmic belief about myself, and I'm working to change it. Mine is that I'm always going to make it. I'm always going to make ends meet. I'm going to be okay. But I'm going to go through a lot of pain and suffering and fear and have to work my fucking ass off day in, day out to make it happen. Feeling like you're being dangled on a string over the fucking edge of hell. Over Satan's fucking claws. Oh, you like that? How about a little bit lower? Oh, you a little scared? You screaming there? Huh? You screaming, Joey? Oh, I know it's horrible. It sucks, doesn't it? But I'm getting a kick out of it. Fuck that. But that's what I believe being in your fleshy body is, because you're like half spirit, half flesh, but you're one, and you're like stuck in this fucking thing. So suffering and mental and emotional suffering is part of the whole game, but I believe you can evolve out of it because a percentage of it is unnecessary. Hope that helped. I hope I didn't freak you out. If I upload this YouTube video, I don't even know if I can upload this mug, but I'm going to do it anyways because I meant everything I said. Alright, later.